Hey guys, in this video we're going to go over how you can control Filmstro with your hardware controllers. So using web MIDI to then use, things like basically some controller knobs or like sliders or anything else you've got. So like if you've got kind of a Loupedeck or any kind of hardware controllers that you use already in your filmmaking setup, you can use those to control Filmstro as well. We'll go over the differences in the MIDI settings, so the difference between pickup and value scaling, and we'll also look at a MIDI learn function in case that's relevant for you guys. But basically by the end of this video you'll super easily be able to use your existing hardware controllers to control Filmstro to just take really good control of your soundtrack. So let's get into it. Okay, so here I'm in Filmstro Pro, and as you can see I've got this MIDI area open. These have already been mapped to momentum, depth and power. Arbitrarily, this is just CC channel 21, 22 and 23. That'll be whatever you want to set there is absolutely fine. If your controller can, then you can just simply MIDI learn. So you click MIDI learn, move the controller, and it will then automatically assign it. Do the same for the others. You click MIDI learn, you move the controller, then you click MIDI learn again, and then you've assigned that setting. And then the other thing to point out is play, pause, and stop are slightly different. And what you need to do is, we've got a note here for you, which is if you're using the play, pause, you want to set that controller to toggle. And then for stop, you want to set it to momentary. The difference is that, as you can see here, if I do this and then click it again, it carries on where it left off. That's basically the toggle, whereas the stop is a momentary thing and it sends it back to the beginning of the transport, okay? So those are the things to point out. And then the important thing to talk about is the difference between off, pickup, and value scaling. So I will start with off. I'm also really important, basically what goes hand in hand with the MIDI is also the latch mode, whether or not you have it on, because that's really important, and I'll show you that now again. So let's just play from here. Off is the default behavior, but as I'm about to show you, pickup is the one that we're going to select for a controller such as this, where there's a finite left and right. There's a hard left and right in this controller, right? 0.0, 0.100 or whatever, if you will. So here we go. So let's play and just put a little bit of something in. So we'll pump up the depth to begin with, make it a bit dark, bring in some momentum, and then let's just bring in the power as well. And then I'll just back off the the depth, just to leave it in the middle, because that kind of activates the high stuff as well, and then we get a kind of really nice fat maximum sort of setting here. Okay, now what's really important to point out is that you can see that the physical sliders are set at momentum maximum, depth in the middle, and power maximum, right? And that currently mimics the slider positions in the app itself, because the playhead is at this point where we just finished, so everything is in sync essentially. But pay attention to what I do now. If I move this playhead to the left, you can see that at this point the depth is high, the momentum is high, the power is low, and you can see that that's then changed here as well, right? So the playhead is determining what the slider position is in the app because it's mimicking what's in the timeline. But of course you'll notice that our physical sliders haven't changed, right? So if I were now to play from here, and let's say, I don't know, for sake of argument, I wanted to change this depth a little bit, then when I start touching this slider here, the depth one, it's going to actually unpleasantly jump to the middle position, because that's what this physical slider is doing, and that's kind of not that helpful. I'm going to actually switch latch off as well, because if I were to now keep latch on and do a change, it would apply it to the rest. But let's just say, for sake of argument, I like what the depth is doing here, but I want to make a small change of depth, maybe just a brief change of depth here. All right, so here we go. I'm going to just give that a go, and there you saw the very first thing that happened when even before I could do anything, when I touched that slider, it then registered where it was set, which was the middle, which is why it introduced a value at the middle there. But I didn't want that. I wanted to start from the top and then do my own thing and come from the top. So to achieve that, we're going to go to pickup, and pickup is the absolute right way to use any physical controllers that, as I say, I've got a finite setting in Filmstro. So let's do that exact same thing again. I might just go to a different area and just play a little bit of something. So let's put latch back on. So I'm going to create something. So there we go. Now let's demonstrate what pickup really does. So again, Notice that the depth is now at the top, maximum depth, which mimics the slider in the app, and it mimics this physical controller right here, right? So if I now go backwards, you can see depth is now in the middle, physical controller is still on the right. So what happens then if I play from here and want to make a small change? Again, I'm going to unlatch just so I can make a change without it affecting the rest of the timeline. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to move, and I have to move the slider until I reach the point that is in the timeline, i.e. the middle, at which point it then picks up where it is, and then I can do something with it, right? So I'm going to have, you'll see me now move from the top down until I can pick up this value, which is really cool. It just makes a lot of sense. Ready? So here I am, top, I'm moving down, 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 and I've picked it up, and then I can go and do what I want, just briefly, in this bit. And that's it there. So that's how pickup works. I'll now show you how the value scaling works. And for that, I'm just going to use a different controller. And this one's the continuous controller. So for this one, I'm going to just switch value scaling on. Might have to just sort of wake it up a bit. So I think to give this its kind of fair demo, I'm just going to like turn everything back to nothing to start with. Let's get that going on. So I latched and then highlighted a section, which meant that everything I did here was just applied to everywhere else. A really quick way of getting to nothing. All right, so let's go to latch. So I'm going to just create something in the first instance. We'll do something similar. So I think I'll just pump up some depth again, bring in the momentum, and then bring in some power. And then I'll just back off the depth again. Okay, so now again, at this point, the playhead and the app sliders are completely aligned and identical. These, of course, I can't actually even tell where they are because they're infinite sliders. So let's just do this as a test then. So what if I were to go back to, let's say, here? That's a very different setting, right? And let's do the most extreme one. So we were at power maximum. Let's go down here to power essentially minimum, which is the power slider here, which, you know, apparently is now going to work because we're on value scaling. And this is really, really cool. So I'm just going to show you this. So instead of having to turn it and to pick up a value, or instead of it jumping to where this controller is, it's going to be even cleverer and just pick up and allow us to go from that position. So here we go. Ready? There we go. How cool is that? I didn't take latch off, which is why you saw me then change the entire timeline. So I think I'll just do that one more time, this time without latch on, just to introduce a small change at this point, and then let it, though, resume with everything I've done before. Here we go. And there it is. Okay. That is it. That's how to use the MIDI inside of Filmstro with any controller you have that is capable of controlling MIDI. And then just, yeah, as I say, don't forget about setting the play pause to toggle, the stop to momentary, and then choosing the pickup if you have a controller that's got a finite, start and stop like this thing, or value scaling for an infinite rotary knob. All right. Okay, I hope that was useful. Until next time, happy editing.